My name is Troy Weishart, and this is Project Rune. I'm going to be making a series of videos explaining my approach to the runes, how to learn them and how to use them. I regard the runes as sentient beings and refer to them as the Lords of the Black Flame. I know 24 lords, their flaming crowns of black fire I wear upon my brow. I know their numbers, I know their meanings, I know their shapes, I know their names. These burning crowns have been bestowed upon me at great price of sacrifice of self unto self. Daily an offering I make of every crown in return and contribution to the great work. Daily I receive each one anew, even darker and greater than before, and in reverence and awe I sing their ancient names in praise of these primordial kings, whose reign has ever been and is unto everlasting. The runes are tools that you can use to shape yourself and your life according to your will. As with any tool, their effective use requires dedication and practice. Whether this is a continuation of your runic journey or the beginning, the runes and the mythic context surrounding them can be valuable tools to assist you in accomplishing your goals. You need to think long and hard about whom you want to be and what you would like to accomplish, and then tap into the visionary part of yourself to conjure that image of yourself, and it will flow from that. This image must be your predominant thought at all times in order for it to come into being. This is an act of becoming that will be ongoing throughout the remainder of your life. By the act of deciding to transform yourself, you have already begun to transform. This transformation will take place in subtle ways and be virtually imperceptible at first. But one day, you will suddenly realize that the goal you have sought is beginning to manifest. It is the way of the runes, when sought with intent, to bring about change by removing what is undesirable and replacing it with qualities that are desirable. Don't expect a quick fix or an instant transformation to take place. There's no such thing as an overnight sensation. The runes require hard work. It is an arduous path with both highs and lows, darkness and light. Like all things of value, the runes come at a price, and that price is sacrifice of self unto self. Each one who embarks on this path must discover what that means for themselves, for it is unique to each individual. To begin, ask yourself what your values are and how you would like to embody those values by who and what you are and what you're doing with your life. You must love and truly believe in what you are doing, or your efforts will fail. This love and belief is the source of the emotion and enthusiasm required to accomplish your great work of becoming. There must be a genuine need within your heart for your desire to make this work. Ask yourself how you want to feel as a result of attaining your goals. The answer to that question is your intent. We'll be dealing primarily with the magical use of the runes. But first we'll take a brief look at the historical sources. There's the Rune Poems, the Abecedarium Nordmanicum, the Amarnan Rune Poem, the Old English Rune Poem, the Old Norwegian Rune Rhyme, and the Old Icelandic Rune Poem. There are memorial stones and other artifacts scattered throughout Europe, pieces of wood with runes establishing ownership of trade goods, references in the Eddas and the Sagas, and a few old manuscripts. Apart from this, the runes themselves are all we have to go on. An extremely important element of rune work and spell work of any kind is the mythic context. This is a construct created from the world of the myths within which to perform ritual. This mythic context is a tool to help the mind's eye visualize the object of desire and provides the descriptive language with which to express our intent. These examples include gods and other beings, places such as various worlds in certain location in those worlds, and runes and other magical symbols. The most important material that we have telling us about the runes is known as the Rune Poem. And this is the first person account of Odin's initiation into the mysteries of the runes. In this poem, Odin describes the method whereby he obtains the secrets of the runes. The name Odin means spirit, and as such it represents every man. When an Odian speaks the name of Odin in ritual, he or she is referring to themselves. When the Rune Poem is recited in ritual or meditative context, it is intended that the speaker be referring to themselves. This poem is an incantation of great power. I know that I hung on the windswept tree all of nights 9, wounded by spear and given to Odin. Odin bespoken to Odin upon that tree of which none telleth from what roots it doth rise. Neither horn they upheld nor handed me bread. Into the depths I looked, and there I found the runes, and I took them up screaming. Then back fell I. 9 mighty songs learned I from Bullthorn, Bestla's father, and a drink I had of the dearest mead got from out of Wolthrier. Then began I to grow and wax in wisdom. One word led to another word. Runes I did find and rightly read the staves. Very strong staves, very mighty staves, that the mighty Thule stained in the holy gods made, and were carved by Odin of the gods. Odin among the Aesir, for Alf's Dane, the Valen for the dwarfs, Alsvith among Ettins, but for earthborn Rin, brought I some myself. I know how to read them, I know how to write them, I know how to carve them, I know how to wield them, I know how to ask, I know how to bloody, I know how to send, and I know how to sacrifice. Better 'tis not to ask than to offer overmuch, for aye doth the gift always look for gain. Better 'tis not to send than to sacrifice too much. Lost did Odin write when he rose up, when he came back. In this poem, the windswept tree is Yggdrasil, the world tree. At the same time, it also refers to the self, every individual, and the fact that they are mortal. Every human being is a microcosm of Yggdrasil. In Norse mythology, wind is a metaphor for death. In the context of the Rune Poem, as it applies to the initiate, this is a ritual death resulting in the transformation from one state to another. This new state of being is the result of the acquisition of some new type of knowledge or ability through an initiatory ritual of some type of quest. In this instance, the act of picking up the runes. The rite of initiation marks a transition from one state of being to another, but transformation is something that takes place over a long period of time and is a result of hard work. It is the great work that takes place over an entire lifetime. Odin hung for 9 nights. 9 is the holiest number in Norse mythology. In addition to the Rune Poem, The number 9 occurs in other myths as well. Heimdallr has 9 mothers. There are 9 worlds in the world tree Yggdrasil. Odin's ring Draupnir produces 9 rings exactly like itself every 8th night. Odin is pierced by Gungnir, his own spear which never misses its target. Gungnir is the weapon of specific and exact intent. Intent is the most important part of any ritual. Odin sacrifices himself to himself by hanging 9 nights, piercing himself with his own spear, and by fasting during the entire ordeal. At the end of the 9th night, Odin dies. This is a ritual death. He looks into the depths, the underworld, and finds the runes. This is a metaphor for looking within himself and finding understanding. He finds the runes, the secrets of the universe. This is the opening or unfolding of the mind's eye, the single eye of Odin. It is only then that Odin gets a drink from Mimir's well of wisdom, memory, Othroir. He learns spells from his grandfather Bolthorn, Evil Thorn, a giant, and begins to increase in wisdom, ancestral memory, and the knowledge and ability it imparts. Mead in the myths is a metaphor for magical powers, knowledge and new ability as a result of ritual initiation. The runes exist in all worlds, as all things are made of runes. The names of these beings mentioned in the poem could possibly be Heiti that Odin uses while each of the worlds listed in the poem. Odin gives 8 examples of the ways in which he is able to use the runes. These are the basic foundational skills that are required of the sorcerer to effectively use the runes. Learning these skills takes years of dedication and practice, a lifetime of work. These skills are specific to each person. Odin then warns of asking for too much and also of offering too much, because both asking and offering are ways of looking for gain. When a god blesses someone, it is for their own benefit. An offering obligates the gods to reciprocate, but it is better not to ask. Odin is the example that the Odian emulates in their attempt to become more like him. The methods whereby the Odian emulates Odin are specific to each individual. The key is to discover and devise ways of accomplishing these Odinic rites within the context of one's own personal life. Whatever does not increase strength or wisdom must be sacrificed. Othroir is the magic mead of inspiration, made from Kavasar's blood and stolen from the giant's daughter Gunlod in the underworld, the depths. Mimir. The well of Mimir is also located in the underworld. This is the journey within, referred to here as the depths. The runes are sigils of ancient entities. The word rune means secret, whisper, and roar. They consist of a stave shape, a number, a sound, and a body of esoteric lore. Weird is similar to fate. In Norse mythology, weird is woven by the Norns, Erd, Verdhande, and Skuld. That which is becoming, and that which should be according to that which is and that which is becoming. Each person has a personal word. Everyone is born with their own personal word and personal Norn. The web of weird consists of runes. They are the strands of the web of weird. They are the threads out of which the fabric of the universe is woven. Images on tapestries and another metaphor for the process of weaving that is mentioned repeatedly throughout the Norse myths. Magic is intent, weaving, carving, singing, reddening, activating. Divination. Tacitus gives an account of divination in his book Germania that may have been runic. There is no set method in which runic divination is performed. To be valid, the method and the particulars to be included in consideration must be established prior to the beginning of the ritual. The Norns, Audvadhande and Skald, shape weird and are thus consulted during runic divination. Tally lore. The number of each rune corresponds to the sequence in which it appears in the Futhark. The number of the runes that appear in any given runic combination is referred to as the count. The number of runes in the count corresponds to the number of the rune in the Futhark that appears at that point in the rune row. The tally is determined by adding the numbers of the runes that appear in the runic combination. If the sum is greater than 24, the digits of the sum are again totaled to obtain a sum of 24 or less. The significance of the count and tally is that they reveal hidden runic energies resulting from specific runic combinations. Signs must be established before the divination ritual. Animals, behavior, kind, color, location, field of vision within certain parameters, or time of appearance. These things can be used to determine the validity of the rune cast or whether it needs to be performed again. This concludes the first episode of the Rune Project. I hope you enjoyed my presentation.